wasted money on cures. Forgot how to fix myself. They say that time is free. Then why is it so precious? Oh, I'll save memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. Time is running out. Time is running out. Lately I've lost my track. I've sailed the deeper seas, hoping to find something to bring back better times. Oh, I'll save memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. But time is running out. 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 Time is running. Time is running out. But time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can be over. They can't be over now. Time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can't be over now. Time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running out.
Afternoon all, it's Jim and Graham back for some more A-Level Business live revision. This time we've got some Edexcel fun and frolics. I use that word advisedly, G. And we're doing a bit of theme 3.
Yeah, theme 3, the second part of our theme of 3 live streams.
Yeah, we'll move on to theme 4 once we've done this,
Soon.
which will be, probably
After the workshops, yeah, probably.
after the workshops as we get closer to paper 1. We mentioned
Oh, you've muted.
unmute myself. Do we mention the workshops so that we can
Have we
after
mentioned
after
those?
Easter? After Easter, I don't think we have, but let's mention them now. After
So
after these holidays, we are on our way back to London.
That top right picture there,
Yeah.
that's White City, isn't it? That's
That is
White City. That.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's the cinema in White
An
City.
amazing location. It really is.
Yeah,
Incredible.
great shops. And Stratford City, next to the London Stadium for
Yeah,
West
yeah.
Ham fans, is where we are for the Tuesday and the Wednesday. So if you can join
Are
us
there any-
live, that will be cool.
Are there any West Ham fans?
Loads. Yeah. We're not
Okay,
all Sunderland fans. Here we go.
So can we name the business, please? Let's have a look at clue number 1.
Okay.
It was founded in July 1943.
It's quite precise.
It is, it's very precise. Yeah, because that's when it was founded.
Okay.
In July. If it was founded in June 1943, then that's what it would have said. So I've got clue number 2. Now, it was originally a mail
okay.
order business, and
Oh,
it
God.
still prints 200 million copies of its catalogue each year. So a business with a catalogue, there's not many of them around, is he?
No, there are one or two, aren't there? But it used to be all the rage, didn't it? Mail order catalogues.
Yeah, a lot of people putting Argos there. I think I may have seen the right answer, but I may not have. Clue number 3. Physical store opened in 1958, now in over 62 countries. I think that rules Argos out.
Yep. Argos these days, of course, it was bought by Sainsbury's, wasn't it? So a lot of
Yeah,
Argos
yeah, yeah.
stores are closed, and
Yeah,
they've put
yeah,
them into some spare space in Sainsbury's, and
yeah.
apparently more Argos space being used to diversify this answer slightly as a consequence of Sainsbury's decided to closing all their restaurants, their store restaurants.
Oh wow.
There you go, a little bit of. But this is that clue, the fourth clue, and well, we've been beaten, haven't we?
Uses 1% of the global wood supply.
That's an amazing stat. That
It is. That's a lot of wood.
it is. Yeah.
When I first was told that, I wouldn't believe it, but now I do. Clue number 5.
So it's not Dunelm, Cossie, Felix. Actually, Cossie, it's great to see in the board in the live chat, but he's been beaten to it.
Yeah, Dunelm was just recently in the international A-Level Edexcel exam. Actually, Dunelm. That's a large furniture retailer. Yeah, the name is an acronym of the founder's name, the farm where he grew up, and his hometown. It is, of course, IKEA.
Ingrid Kamprad, isn't it?
Ingrid Kamprad, and he obviously grew up in a place that began with an E and an A. So
somebody's suggesting the founder of IKEA was somebody called Alan Key.
I used to work with Alan Key. Yeah. I used to work with Alan Key. Yeah. Alan Key.
I was waiting for a joke. Okay, let's get going then. So we're picking out some MCQs here based on the second half of theme 3. And we're starting with a really, really important formula. So what is the formula for capital employed? It's one of those 4. And it's obviously something to do with total equity and non-current liabilities. But what is it? Need to know this. Really important.
For gearing and return on capital employed.
Indeed. It's the bottom part, isn't it? Or part of the bottom part of a statement of financial position. But a vital formula to know. You won't always be given capital employed. You may be given information that enables you to calculate it. Katie and Kenny and others, but not everyone. Ollie and Harrison have gone for the same answer as well. But not everybody, which is...
It wasn't mentioned in an examiner's report that some students... so we've got total equity minus non-current liabilities. So we've got a various array of different answers.
Let's have a look at the answer.
Yeah, it is, of course, it is D, isn't it?
Yeah, so imagine capital employed is the finance invested in the business, isn't it? It's the finance that is used. Total equity is share capital plus reserves. So retained profit plus share capital. In other words, that's the money that the shareholders have got invested in the business.
Yeah.
And non-current liabilities is loan finance, isn't it? Essentially, that's how complicated it gets. No more complicated than that. It's loan finance. So
definitely
D was the correct answer. Important formula to know that one.
Okay, so the next one is a business is considering changing its culture from one which is more centralized and focused on a small number of key figures within a business to one where individuals have more freedom to make decisions and act independently. This involves moving from A, B, C, and D. Now, task culture was examined for the first time ever last year. It's the first time a specific culture has been examined, and the examiner's reports did say that not many students knew what task culture was, so it is really important. It's a handy thing to know, isn't it, Jim?
It certainly is. It's a handy model.
It's a handy model to know your 4 different cultural classifications, as it were.
And also in what situations one culture might be more effective than another.
Definitely.
Cam has his keyboard has got probably Marmite stuck on it because it's stuck. You only need to post it once, Cam. But the good news is every time you posted it, I think was the correct answer. Shall we have a look?
Yeah, sure. Have a look. Yeah, it is a power culture to a person culture. So just make sure you are aware of the differences between each type of culture.
Yep.
Because when it was examined last year, task culture, it was clear that a lot of students didn't know what it was.
Yeah. Well, it's like all of these things. You've got to know the different models and theories.
You've got to know your stuff.
It's the foundation of doing well.
Like yesterday when we did distinctive capabilities, and a lot of students didn't know what distinctive capabilities were. So make sure you also know that if you weren't there yesterday.
As Adam stuck in the live chat, just reminding us, it's handies or handsies. I'll go with handies. That's an easy typo to make. The handies culture model of culture.
It is.
Really important model. Should we do the next one? Let's have a look at this one. The technique of smoothing out fluctuations in data to identify the underlying trend. What's that known as? Is it moving averages? Is it scatter graphs? Could it be extrapolation or correlation? This is another one that often confuses students, not just understanding what it is, but also actually doing it. Let's see how we get on with this one. So the technique of smoothing out fluctuations in data. Let's say, for example, you've got some sales data, production data, to identify the trend. The underlying trend, I think, gives the game away, doesn't it, in terms of what the answer is?
Yep.
Lots of people, Amelia, Ollie, Lottie, and others have gone for what I believe to be the correct answer. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's moving averages. Gee, you can tell us a little bit more about that, just to explain the differences between the four there. Moving averages is exactly that. You take a data set and calculate averages of different sorts to basically to eliminate the fluctuation, the variation, to see what the trend is. Extrapolation is where we use data to effectively forecast future data. So we use historical data to forecast. Looking forward, extrapolation. Correlation is where we try to find a relationship, don't we, between an independent variable and a dependent variable. So, for example, we might try to find, and also to find out what type of correlation it is, whether it's positive or negative, and how strong it is. And so, for example, we might look at data sets, looking at, I don't know, number of temperature outside and sales of ice cream. You probably find is positively and strongly correlated. Scatter graphs is similar to correlation, isn't it? It's where we plot different data points to try and find a relationship. Do you want to just say something about moving averages? Because I know this was an issue in the workshops, wasn't it?
Yeah. So you need to be able to calculate 3-point or 4-quarter moving averages, and also the cyclical and or seasonal variation. Now, they've been examined twice now, and it is clear when we did them in the workshops, and we do them in the workshops. We do a little section on 4-quarter moving averages. Some students are quite unsure how to work those out. So they have been examined before. So make sure that you can calculate 3-point or 4-quarter moving averages, as well as the seasonal and cyclical variation. Both have been examined.
Yep. Okay. And do you want to do this one, G? A two-statement question.
Okay, yeah. So last year, a business employed 1,500 staff and 300 left the business. The labour retention rate was 80%. Statement 2. The formula to calculate gearing is non-current liabilities divided by capital employed. Are those true or are those false? What do we think? Eddie, I'm not entirely sure. I think there was a 3-point moving average examined about 3 years ago. The 4-quarter moving averages was about 6 years ago. Not that makes any difference at all. If it was examined last year, it could still come up this year. That makes no difference. You just need to know it in case it does come up. So what do we think? Is statement A true and is statement 2 true? Sorry, statement 1 true and statement 2 true? Or are they false or a combination of both? A majority are going for A, so we believe that both those statements are true. I think everyone's going for A.
I'm not sure about statement 2. Well, but it might be. Let's have a look.
It could be, couldn't it? It could be. Should we have a look?
Yeah.
No, statement 2 is false because it's multiplied by 100. It's a percentage. So statement 1 is true. So you could work out labour turnover, which was 300 divided by 1,500 times 100, which would come out at 20%. Therefore, labour retention would be 80%, the difference. Or you could work out labour retention. So if there was 1,500 staff and 300 left, that's 1,200 that were retained.
Yeah.
1,200 divided by 1,500 times 100 would be a labour retention rate of 80%. So in terms of, a lot of students there saying, it's an easy mistake to make with statement 2, but those are the mistakes the students are making. It's a percentage and it has to be expressed as a percentage. So
it does.
There we go.
If you just calculate it as 0.8 cent or 0.5 and put that down, it'd be wrong.
It's wrong. It's not the right answer.
I guess somebody's asking what's the formula for labour retention rate. Well, it's 1 less the staff turnover rate, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's the percentage of staff still in the business as a proportion of the number of staff that started the year.
Yeah. Number of staff retained divided by total number of staff times 100. So in this case, 300 minus 1,500, so 1,200 staff were retained, divided by 1,500 times 100 is 80%.
Cossy's getting a bit of stick in the live chat for putting A, but I can only assume that it was just maybe just a misclick on the iPad or smartphone or laptop. It's the only possible explanation.
It's easy done, isn't it?
How about this one? So statement 1, scenario planning. Do you want to do this one, G, or shall I go through this one?
Yeah, I'll do this one. Scenario planning involves anticipating possible changes in a business's situation and then devising ways of dealing with them. Retained profit is found on the statement of financial position. Are those true or false? Now, scenario planning was examined last year on paper 3, and dear oh dear, not very well answered at all. Huge misunderstandings around what scenario planning was. But is that what it is? Is statement 1 true or false? Is statement 2 true or false?
We've got a mixture. Most people going for A or B on this one. So they're confident about statement 1, but not sure about statement 2.
Yeah. When you see a definition of scenario planning and you think, yeah, that is correct, but if you just get asked a question on what it is, just to say their statement is contingency planning. Contingency planning, it is the same thing, although the wording on the Edexcel specification is scenario planning, not contingency planning.
Yeah.
So we're split between A and B, aren't we? So should we really answer?
Okay.
Yeah, both are true. So statement 2, which caused confusion, it's profit that's not found on the statement of financial position, but retained profit is. And yes, scenario planning is anticipating possible changes and devising ways of dealing with them. When this was examined last year, lots of students confused scenario planning with decision trees, as well as critical path analysis.
Amelia's made a great point, which I was just going to explain it, but she's done it in the live chat, which is awesome. And there's lots of people in the live chat adding some great supporting answers.
Value, yeah.
So net profit, that's the bottom part of the income statement, isn't it? It's the final number. It tells you the net profit for the period after all sales and costs are taken into account. But don't forget, when you make a profit, you make a choice as a shareholder. You either take it out of the business as dividends or you leave it in. And if you leave profit in, the retained profit, that becomes part of the finance of the business. And that's indeed what most businesses do. They retain their profits. So that's why retained profits, it's part of total equity, isn't it? Share capital plus retained profit is total equity.
Exactly what it is.
That was a hard question, that one. Should we do? I think it's time for a calculation now.
Can I just put up? Can you just put up Ethanzala's?
Yeah.
Ethanzala's.
Let's go back, shall we? Just to
So actually, there's no real difference, because if you look at the specification next to scenario planning, succession planning is one of the bullet points next to it. So it's an example of scenario planning.
Yeah.
So some businesses will succession plan because they'll plan a scenario where maybe an inspirational leader will leave and who's going to replace that person. So they are one. So it's part of scenario planning. All I can say is make sure you print the specification off and make sure you understand every single term on it. So succession planning comes under scenario planning on the specification.
Yeah, a number of people talking about retained profits and sole traders. Well, of course, it's retained profit is still a source of finance for a sole trader as well as a private limited company, except there's no share capital. So there's owners' funds in a sole trader.
Yeah.
But succession planning, it's getting me thinking there. What did you say? An inspirational leader possibly leaving? And have they got a plan for us?
Jim, when I go, don't worry. There'll be someone to step in my shoes. Don't worry about that.
Right, it's time to do a calculation. So we've got a minute now. Normally, by the time we start the clock, somebody's worked it out. And would you believe it?
Can I just go back? So sorry, Adam, it's on 3. Succession planning's on 3. It's obviously scenario planning's causing a bit of a kerfuffle here.
Okay.
So it's on 3.6. So 3.
Yes, thank you, Izzy.
Yes. Should we do the calculation?
Let's start the clock. We mentioned capital employed.
Let's start the clock. So I think we've identified, even though this is about return on capital employed, that scenario planning and distinctive capabilities are areas we need to be looking at as students.
Yep. Lucy wasn't waiting for us to start the clock. Just got on with it. Got on with the calculation. Let's see how people get on.
Very quick, that, isn't it? Because there's a number of calculations you have to do there to work it out.
So a calculation would be 4 marks, wouldn't it, at Excel? And there's 3 stages there?
4 and 4 only. Yeah, so you'd need to work out operating profit, then work out capital employed, then transpose those into the formula and then work it out. So I think most students got 25%.
Amelia and
So,
others, you
if
and
gross
others have shown
profit,
the workings there.
if gross profit is a 1.5 million and operating expenses 600,000, so we deduct those together. We deduct those, sorry, to get operating profit. Add non-current liabilities to total equity to get capital employed, and then just divide the 2 times 100 to get 25%. Now, return on capital employed was actually examined last year. However, that's irrelevant. You still need to know the formulas, and and gearing, wasn't examined last year. Gearing could come up this year. Return on capital employed could come up this year. We just need, Jim, to know our stuff, don't we?
We do. And just looking at those numbers, that 3.6 million, that tells you how much finance is invested in the business. That's the capital employed in the business. It's a mixture, isn't it, of equity, shareholders' money, and loans. So, and you could use that to work out gearing as well. But that's the reason why retained profit is part of the balance sheet. It's part of total equity. 25%.
Excellent stuff.
Good working. Some really accurate and quick working out going on here. We may have another calculation to go. But for now, shall we do a couple of definitions? I'll get the wheel spinning. So we need to know our stuff. I know we've mentioned that several times, but it's absolutely vital now. You need to know every term in that specification. Go through it, highlight them all, particularly highlight the ones that you're not sure about. Make sure you know what they are. Let's spin it for the first time, G. All drawn from theme 3.3 to 6.
Oh, well, critical path analysis. So what do you understand by critical path analysis? So again,
Sure,
you might have to work out the nodes, the early start time, or finish time. You might have to assess the value of critical path analysis. So what do you understand by critical path analysis?
This would be a good way of picking out some of the key features of CPA, wouldn't it? Network analysis, it's otherwise known as.
So what do we
understand by it? But if someone was asking you to explain what it was, what would you say?
Yeah, I think for paper 3, which is on the music industry, if you look at a business like the Corp Live Arena, which is the Europe's biggest indoor arena, and that was delayed, wasn't it? So there could be something around critical path on paper 3. A method of planning and controlling large projects. I like that, Izzy. That's a good definition, that.
Adam's also built on that, talking about how it's identifies the fastest time a project can be completed without delay. That's the key thing. That's
really good, that. It is.
It's not the longest path through the project.
Yeah, it's a planning tool. It's not really a decision-making tool, is it? It's a planning tool, and that's really coming through on the chat there, Jim.
So Arnie's got a
project management
explanation there.
Yeah.
And it really comes into its own in complex projects.
Yeah.
Where you've got lots of moving parts and durations and activities that are dependent on each other, but also activities that take place at the same time.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
Amazing stuff.
To know it is to understand it, and to be able to then, as you say, to be able to interpret the diagram. So
critical path analysis is a widely used project management tool that uses network diagrams to help project managers handle complex and time-sensitive operations. So a number of things you need to know is you need to be able to calculate earlier start times, latest finish times, identify the critical path. And I always hate saying this word. You've got to be able to calculate the float time.
There's a formula for float as well, isn't there?
The is LFT minus duration minus EST, and we do critical path analysis in our workshop. We do it.
Oh, don't spoil the surprise, Graham, because I know it's one of those things that everybody loves doing.
Oh yeah. Sorry, can we just? I never said that. We definitely do not do it in the workshops.
Or possibly we do. Let's do another one. Let's spin it again. So CPA shouldn't appear. If this was purely random, it wouldn't appear. And it hasn't.
Oh, transformational leadership. Would you believe examined only once, I believe.
Okay.
Since 2015. Will it be examined again? Who knows? We need to know what we understand by transformational leadership. So, it's one of those terms I think students struggled with slightly when it was examined previously. And you can't just say leadership, that is transformational. That just will not do.
There's some brutal honesty in the live chat. Somebody said, never heard of it, from Mako. Until today, perhaps.
That is the beauty of attending these live sessions, isn't it? Because maybe you were off that lesson, or or whatever. But now you have heard of it because it's on screen.
Let's stick Sophie's on there. We'll stick 2 or 3 here. Olim's talking about the ability for a leader to adapt to change. Sophie's making the point about the inspiration, motivational aspect to help staff exceed expectations.
Yeah, it's more than
It's
just
about driving change as well, isn't it? What about
yeah,
Katie's here? What about this one, G? A leader who aims to make
yeah.
significant change to improve business performance.
I can't really. I think Katie, and I'm glad you've loaned us that answer. If you pardon the pun, that is a great definition. That is a really, really good definition, because that's what it's about, isn't it? Transforms a business generally. It comes under
It's about change, isn't it?
It comes in the spec. It comes under, it's 3.6. It comes under causes of change. Causes of change is transformational leadership. So it is under
Lucy's
causes of
suggesting
change.
that our good friend, well, it's not, I don't know him, but Elon Musk, you might argue, I mean, whatever we think about his politics, you might consider his ability to transform organizations and push them to achieve things that might not otherwise have been achieved. Hard to argue against that.
Yeah.
Not always successful transformational leadership, is it? But
No. Should we have a look at what we had?
yeah, here's what we went with.
So it's a leadership style that empowers people to accomplish positive change through motivation, inspiration, and a call to action. So it's much more than those 4 categories of leadership style you'll have covered. It is about driving through change to transform an organization. So I think there's some excellent examples of transformational leadership, like of Tesco and things like that, of some great examples of that. But that's what it is. And it does sit in 3.6 of the spec, which is part of change. Amazing.
3.6.
Yeah, it comes in 3.6.
Now, I mentioned mini calculations. We've got a decision tree. Let's go through this one.
Okay, this activity will grow on you. So it's a business is considering launching a new product. The owner has constructed a decision tree showing the estimated costs, sales, and probabilities of sales of the proposed product launch. Now, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. You might get a 4-mark question asking you to construct a decision tree. It's on the spec. However, in this case, we only want you to calculate 2 things: the expected value and the net gain of the product launch. So you've got everything on screen to be able to do that. Can you calculate the expected value and the net gain? You can't calculate the net gain until you've done the expected value anyway, to be fair.
Yep.
It's good that we've branched out into a decision tree in this live stream. So a key element of theme 3. Some very quick working out. We do need 2 numbers.
Yep.
Can't remember if we do decision trees, and I don't want to give too much away about the workshops for those who haven't attended, but we may do decision trees, we may not. We still haven't decided about that yet. Very quick working out, isn't it? Very quick working out in the chat window.
Less than a minute. Most people, certainly those who are typing into the live chat, Ollie and Lucy and others.
Yeah, for those who are unsure how to do it, basically what we're saying is that the new product has a 6% chance of achieving sales of 800,000 and a 40% chance of 300,000. So 0.6 times 800,000 plus 0.4 times 300,000. And add those 2 together. That's our expected value. Deduct the cost of the investment or the product, 150,000, and that should give us our net gain. So yeah, 600,000. And 450,000. If you did that, well done. Not easy calculations, that really, but we absolutely smashed it, didn't we? Really, really well done.
Often you might get a decision tree where they're considering 2 options as well, G, might you? So that opens the door to considering the sort of the qualitative issues around decision trees about risk and about return.
I think if it was a standalone 4-marker, that'd probably be as much as you could get because of the steps. But if it was part of a 12 or 20 marker, say in paper 3, then you might have 2 different decisions, and then you might have to work out the net gain of both and use that to decide which one you should choose. Yeah, some students there about being asked to draw. Yeah, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. And they're not difficult. Very straightforward, as we can see on the screen. They're not hard.
Decision trees are very sensitive to probabilities.
Yeah,
and you can always question if it was relevant to the answer, who's drawn them up and who's decided what the probabilities are, because it's notoriously difficult to work out the chance of success. Yeah. But in my experience in business, people are over optimistic about chance of success. and insufficiently cautious about the chance of failure. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We just use the numbers the examiner gives us, don't we?
Brilliant.
Well done. Now we've got one more application. I've got an application spinner this time before we move on to a mini case study. So we're on labour productivity now. Let's set this up and then see what you think. We've got 6 well-known businesses there. And we want you to consider for one of those 6 a benefit of increasing labour productivity. So specifically, we're looking for obviously a benefit of increased labour productivity, but in the context of using words of, using the situation of the business. This is what application spinning is all about. So let's have a look. It's normally Samsung or Apple, but we don't know, do we? Would you believe it?
Would you believe it? You landed on Nissan at 11 o'clock today, but that was a different, they all merged into one. So I'm not too sure. So what is the benefit to a car manufacturer such as Nissan of increasing labour productivity? And that's probably moving towards a more capital intensive method of production, isn't it, really? You know, that's what it is. So therefore, each worker can produce more cars or something along those lines.
Let's have a look. We're looking in the live chat for words that are that there's a benefit of increasing labour productivity, but in the context of Nissan. So we're looking for something which would help make it applied to Nissan.
It's interesting is because a lot of students, and I've seen some, it means they're making more cars and selling more, but labour productivity is about the number of cars each worker makes. It's not about total output, really.
Yeah.
So we need that distinction there. It's about how many vehicles or cars, in this case, each worker produces and why that's a benefit. So it's not about, making more cars. It's about each worker making more cars. So it's not about overall output per se. It's about each worker making more.
Yeah, lots of people going for the making more cars, which is a possible benefit. But really, probably it's more about unit cost, isn't it?
It's more about if each worker can make more cars, so fewer workers can make the same amount of cars as more workers, really.
I'll stick a couple of answers on the screen, G.
That's a good one there. So increase efficiency. So that could, so basically it's about unit cost, I think, allowing maybe more competitive prices, giving an edge over rivals like Toyota or Volkswagen. So some great application there.
So if he's gone down the lead time approach, efficiency,
that's
leading
a great
to
answer.
A shorter lead time of production.
That's a great answer. That's a really good answer. Quality is an interesting one because it's not intrinsically linked to labour productivity. Adam said, does it depend on the type of production? You would argue that floor production is more related to increases in labour productivity. Yeah, so it's a very difficult concept, this, because it's easy to drift into other topics without getting to the heart of what it is. Should we have a look at what we had?
Yeah. There's loads of great answers in the live chat, which you should
some brilliant stuff.
Take a look at. Here's what we went with.
So it may lead to a reduction in labour cost per unit, because if each worker is paid the same amount of money but they're producing more cars, then the labour cost per unit of each car falls. That means unit costs of a car falls.
Yeah.
So lower unit costs may allow Nissan to reduce their car prices whilst maintaining the same margins. It could allow them to compete more effectively against their rivals, such as Toyota.
And you could link that with price elasticity demand, couldn't you? I think you would argue that in Nissan and Toyota's market, probably demand is fairly sensitive to price.
Yeah, Kenny's. Can we put Kenny's answer on there? Because I'm just spotting some of these. I'm just spotting these as they're coming through here.
Yeah, this one here.
Yeah, so that's it in a nutshell. They can produce more cars per worker. That's where it is, lowering costs and boosting efficiency. This helps Nissan stay competitive in the global car market.
Wow.
And meet demand faster for popular models like the Qashqai. So really, labour productivity is about more cars per worker rather than more cars per se. That's what labour productivity is.
Which drives down unit costs and potentially.
Drives down unit costs.
You might, the link to quality is a little bit harder to explain, isn't it? Because you'd have to explain how, why the labour productivity is improved and how that might result in better quality. Probably due to greater use of robotics and automation, but I love those. And Kenny's answer is a great example of how to season the answer with industry terms, isn't it? So, such as competitors, car prices, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, some great stuff.
We're going to finish with our mini case study, aren't we? So it's been a while since we've done Greg's, isn't it?
Yeah. And Greg's are on track for £1 billion worth of sales, aren't they? Really on a roll at the minute. So Greg's has set a target of using 100% renewable energy across all operations by the end of 2025, the end of this year, as part of its CSR targets. Greg's is committed to reducing food waste, aiming for a 25% decrease compared to 2018, and ensuring that 100% of their surplus food goes to food banks to reduce their environmental impact further. They're also aiming to open 50 more breakfast or school breakfast clubs, providing 70,000 meals each school day, and bring the total number to 1,000 by 2025.
Breaking news as well, G. Before the question, Sayan is actually in Greg's right now.
Wow, that's incredible.
So maybe ask the staff behind the counter the answer to this question that's about to appear.
Yeah, I'll have a donut, please, if you're in there. And can we have a look at the question? What are the benefits and downsides of CSR to a business such as Greg's? Now, CSR has been examined a few times, and I think it's a very accessible topic, but a lot of students get confused with what CSR is. A study session in Greg's. Wow.
I can't think of a better place, actually.
I can't either.
Well, I can.
So what do we think? What do we
Greg's
think?
What do we think?
What do we think? Everyone's in Greg's. Sophie's in there too. What's going on? What's going on?
Well, they could be there together.
Why aren't we in Greg's? Why aren't we in
Greg's,
Jim? We should come live from Greg's one day, shouldn't we? Like the BBC Radio 1 Roadshow. We should come live from Greg's. Yeah, CSR is corporate social responsibility. So what do we think?
Okay,
what are the benefits and downsides to CSR to a business such as Greg's?
I've worked out, just whilst we're looking for some answers for that, I've worked out why there's so many people in Greg's. It's because they're together.
Oh, right, okay.
So that would explain it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So the benefits of CSR and the downsides of CSR, because I think you have to think, I mean, obviously the easy one is the benefit of CSR, isn't it? That's a relatively straightforward one. But from a shareholder point of view, you might argue that actually there are some potential downsides.
It's got to be related to Greg's, though. Just putting the word Greg's in your answer isn't enough, really, because you could change the word Greg's for another business. It's got to be, I mean, and we've got a golden rule, really, that if there's data in the extract, there must be data in your answers. And, we've got some data in the extract there.
Yeah, so if it's pointing to the information about reusable energy, targeting environmentally conscious consumers, and then you'd go on to explain why a potential downside might be high cost, therefore increasing the break-even output. What else? Lots of answers coming in.
A lot of answers. I'm just trying to see answers that are very much applied rather than using the data. For example, if you're going to use 100% renewable energy, that could reduce costs to Greg's. Maybe lower prices. That could reduce the price of their sausage rolls, for example. That's the type of application we want there, rather than just using the word Greg's. Amelia there's got a great one about costly to provide 70,000 meals each school day. There's going to be a cost associated with that. It's whether or not. So, that's some really good application there about the cost of CSR to Greg's, because it is going to cost money. Brand image. So, Daniel there, can we put Daniel's point up? Because that's quite interesting, actually.
Yeah, here it comes.
Yeah, and we can so that's a great point there. It does create a great brand image. Customers want to purchase from Greg's, increasing their market share. So, I think what we could have said is that maybe customers might want to choose Greg's instead of something like Pret.
Yep.
Because the only way you can get increased market share is if you're taking customers away from other food on the go businesses. Yeah,
so you just develop that point to say, the use of CSR may encourage Greg's to attract customers away from competitors such as Press, such as whatever, McDonald's. Thereby increasing their share of the local market or the overall market.
Definitely. Some great stuff. Shall we have a look at what we had?
Yeah, some great stuff coming in there. Take us through these two answers, G, or these two approaches. Lots of application in these.
So, an enhanced brand reputation, customer loyalty. So, by setting targets for renewable energy use, reducing food waste, etc., Greg's demonstrates its commitment to their CSR and social environmental responsibilities. This could resonate positively with consumers who value sustainability, potentially leading to increased trust and preference to buy food, more application from Greg's, as opposed to rivals such as Pret. So we can see the application there. However, the initial financial investment required to implement these programs, moving to these energy sources food waste reduction, and expanding community outreach efforts like breakfast clubs may entail significant upfront costs, which may reduce profits in the short term. So you can just see how we've used application there to root it in the context of Greg's.
Yeah, and I think you and others, Amelia's also will gladden your heart, Graham. Any answer on Greg's that uses the word sausage rolls relevantly?
I'm sold.
Yep, you're sold, aren't you? So in this case,
it's
interesting, wouldn't it? Do Greg's customers actively seek, or would they be prepared to pay slightly more for a product if they believed it was maybe responsibly, sustainably sourced?
Yeah,
such as a sustainable sausage rolls. I don't know what a sustainable sausage roll looks like and how it differs from a normal one. But in theory, there is a segment of customers out there who do actively seek, don't they?
Yeah, I wonder if their ketchup is sustainably sourced.
I wonder.
And on that note,
so I was waiting there, thinking there was something else coming.
No, there was nothing.
But there isn't.
No.
That reminds me. Don't forget, if you've joined us live, that's great. But if not, you're watching this. You can watch this on Ketchup. In fact, all of our live streams can be watched on Ketchup and Catch-Up. And well, there we go. That's another 30. Well, actually, a few more. 35 minutes there.
Yeah,
on
35. Yeah.
3.3 to 3.6. So we've done theme 3 this week, yesterday and today. We'll be back after our visits to London to do our last 2 days of Edexcel A-Level Business, with some more live streams as we get closer to Paper One and beyond.
Yeah.
So many thanks to everyone who's joined us live. I think terrific answers, as always, in the live stream. It's great to see the regulars. And in particular to Sophie, Sayani and Lucy, who are sat in Greg's.
Yeah, and Izzy's asking what the weather's like in Sunderland. Thanks for asking, Izzy. It's dry and a little bit sunny. So thanks for that.
That's a really useful weather update for anyone planning a trip up to Sunderland for the Easter weekend. But for the rest of us, so well done, everyone. Look, keep revising. Every half an hour you can put into the bank of revision is good news. But don't forget to also look after yourself. Take some rest, enjoy yourself, get some exercise, take a break from study. Certainly the evidence from the live stream audience is that you're in good shape. Maybe a few little bits and bobs still to work hard on, but in good shape. And we've still got a month to go. 4 weeks. So, awesome, mate. I shall catch. Well, we're going to be doing some AQA, aren't we, in about half an hour? So I'll go have
in about 15 minutes. About 15 minutes, I think. Yeah,
true. So, look, everyone who's not joining us at 2:00, all the best for the Easter weekend. Don't forget to look out on the channel to see the dates for our next sessions. And if you're coming to London a week after next, look forward to seeing you. But for now, and to everyone sat in Greg's about to go get some more, see you later.
Thank you.